We're reading A Course in Miracles. We're on chapter 15. Chapter 15 is called The Holy Instant, and this is section 2, The End of Doubt. The atonement is in time, but not for time. Being in you, it is eternal. What holds remembrance of God cannot be bound by time. No more are you. For unless God is bound, you cannot be. An instant offered to the Holy Spirit is offered to God on your behalf, and in that instant you will awaken gently in Him. In the blessed instant you will let go all your past learning, and the Holy Spirit will quickly offer you the whole lesson of peace. What can take time when all the obstacles to learning it have been removed? Truth is so far beyond time that all of it happens at once. For as it was created one, so its oneness depends not on time at all. Do not be concerned with time, and fear not the instant of holiness that will remove all fear. For the instant of peace is eternal because it is without fear. It will come, being the lesson God gives you, through the teacher He has appointed to translate time into eternity. Blessed is God's teacher, whose joy it is to teach God's holy Son His holiness. His joy is not contained in time. His teaching is for you because His joy is yours. Through Him you stand before God's altar, where He gently translates hell into heaven. For it is only in heaven that God would have you be. How long can it take to be where God would have you? For you are where you have forever been and will forever be. All that you have forever. The blessed instant reaches out to encompass time as God extends Himself to encompass you. You who have spent days, hours, and even years in chaining your brothers to your ego in an attempt to support it and uphold its weakness, do not perceive the source of strength. In this holy instant, you will unchain all your brothers and refuse to support either their weakness or your own. You do not realize how much you have misused your brothers by seeing them as sources of ego support. As a result, they witness to the ego in your perception and seem to provide reasons for not letting it go. Yet, they are far stronger and much more compelling witnesses for the Holy Spirit, and they support His strength. It is therefore your choice whether they support the ego or the Holy Spirit in you, and you will recognize which you have chosen by their reactions. A son of God who has been released through the Holy Spirit in a brother is always recognized. He cannot be denied. If you remain uncertain, it is only because you have not given complete release. And because of this, you have not given a single instant completely to the Holy Spirit. For when you have, you will be sure you have. You will be sure because the witness to Him will speak so clearly of Him that you will hear and understand. You will doubt until you hear one witness whom you have wholly released through the Holy Spirit, and then you will doubt no more. The holy instant has not yet happened to you. Yet it will, and you will recognize it with perfect certainty. No gift of God is recognized in any other way. You can practice the mechanics of the holy instant and will learn much from doing so. Yet its shining and glittering brilliance, which will literally blind you to this world by its own vision, you cannot supply. And here it is, all in this instant, complete, accomplished, and given wholly. Start now to practice your little part in separating out the holy instant. You will receive very specific instructions as you go along. To learn to separate out this single second and to experience it as timeless is to begin to experience yourself as not separate. Fear not that you will not be given help in this. God's teacher and His lesson will support your strength. It is only your weakness that will depart from you in this practice, for it is the practice of the power of God in you. Use it but for one instant, and you will never deny it again. Who can deny the presence of what the universe bows to in appreciation and gladness? Before the recognition of the universe that witnesses to it, your doubts must disappear. Okay, the end of doubt. And the end of fear. So the section before this chapter is called the Holy Instant. All right, the section before was the two uses of time. That's the beginning. And Jesus is now continuing that discussion and talking about the Holy Instant, which is the moment where you completely transcend this world and the body and everything that we think of as real. It's a complete transcendence, and we're back in the reality of God again. Now, what does Jesus say about that? Fear not the instant of holiness that will remove all fear. For the instant of peace is eternal because it is without fear. Okay, so clearly the holy instant is this instant where you are back in the love of God, and in that love of God there is no fear. There's nothing to fear because there is no separation. We only fear things because we feel separate, right? We fear others. We fear the judgment of others. We fear the judgment of God, who we feel is separate from us. That's the main thing. We fear God's judgment, but we also fear the judgment of others. And through fearing that judgment, that we witness to that fear, and we make that fear real. And so it becomes real, and it becomes our reality. But it's not real. Again and again, Jesus wants to tell us, it is not real. And we also fear, in allegiance with the ego, we fear losing the ego. We fear, the ego fears dissolution, right? It fears being dissolved, being no more, and annihilation, basically. And on some level, because of that allegiance with the ego, we also fear that, and we feel that if everything was taken away from us, there would be nothing left, right? We would be no more. We would be gone. We also, even if we don't necessarily believe that, which we do, we also fear the unfamiliar. What would happen if we didn't have our story? What would happen if we didn't have our personality? What would happen if we didn't have the world that we have become so used to, which is so familiar and so beloved of us? What would happen? And the answer is nothing would happen, actually. We would still be there. But we would be without any fear, and we would be in the oneness, in the undivided oneness of reality. You could call it the love of God. But the fear is that we would be no more, and that would be it. And everything, game over. There's nothing else. Now, a lot of what Jesus is doing in the Course is he's making it very clear again and again that we cannot go home without our brother. Meaning we cannot go home without forgiving everyone and everything completely, complete forgiveness. And one brother is all brothers. So that means if we're holding anything against anyone, we may have complete love for one person, one brother, but another brother we're holding something against. And so the reality is that whatever we're holding against one brother, we're holding against all brothers, everyone. We can not use the word brother. We'll just say, if we hold something against one person or one thing, we hold it against everyone. That's in our heart. We have not let go. We have not cleared the way. There are still dark stones that have not been removed. And so let's read this one passage, which is very, very interesting. You do not realize how much you have misused your brothers by seeing them as sources of ego support. As a result, they witness to the ego in your perception and seem to provide reasons for not letting it go. Yet they are far stronger and much more compelling witnesses to the Holy Spirit. Let's go down a little. A son of God who has been released through the Holy Spirit in a brother is always recognized. He cannot be denied. If you remain uncertain, meaning in doubt, it is only because you have not given complete release. And because of this, you have not given a single instant completely to the Holy Spirit. For when you have, you will be sure you have. Okay, so our brothers, everything outside of us can witness either to the Holy Spirit or to the ego. It's our choice, right? It's all what we want and what we, what we hold in our, as our goal and what we desire, right? So if we desire to be in peace and harmony, not separation with others, then we have to give that. We have to teach that. And then others will witness to that in us. And if we are teaching on any level the ego, that will also be witnessed to us, and we will learn that. Now, this is very, in a lot of ways, this sounds right, but is it really, I think there's still doubt, right? So I think what it's really getting at is to really be in that place of no fear and no doubt. You have to have that experience of the holy instant, right? So that's why Jesus says here at the end, he says, you can practice the mechanics of the holy instant and will learn much from doing so. Yet its shining and glittering brilliance, which will literally blind you to this world by its own vision, you cannot supply. And here it is, all in this instant, complete, accomplishing, given wholly. So I think what Jesus is saying there is that, yeah, we can do our part, which is to do our best to let go of our judgment and see our brother whole and perfect. And what that will do is it will undo the ego, and it will prepare the way for us to have that experience of the holy instant. So that's what I think Jesus means by we can practice the mechanics of it. Like we can practice being fully present and fully in a place of non-judgment and without fear and so on. But that's not the thing itself. That's just, it's like when you try to meditate and we say we're meditating even when we're just sitting and we're having a lot of thoughts and we're caught up in our thoughts, and we call that meditating. But meditation would be when the mind is out of the way and we're in a space of calm, more or less thoughtlessness. That would be meditation. So it's the same thing here with the holy instant, is that we can practice it, but the thing itself takes us beyond the world. It transcends the world. Start now to practice your little part in separating out the holy instant. You will receive very specific instructions as you go along. Now, does that really mean specific? I think it means that you will find the way to get to the experience of the holy instant, right? I don't know if it means that you will actually be given specific instructions. That's highly doubtful. To learn to separate out the single second and to experience it as timeless is to begin to experience yourself as not separate. Fear not that you will not be given help in this. God's teacher in his lesson will support your strength. Which is, I think, just really to say that you remember the light of love, of unconditional love. That's the memory we all hold. We all know in our heart, right? That's our higher self. That's our inner teacher. And we defer to that. We use that as our standard. We could say, what would love do? What would unconditional love do in this moment? And we don't even have to use the word Holy Spirit or Jesus or God. We can just say, what would the spirit of unconditional love do in this moment? Not just do, but how would it see this? How would it perceive what is happening here? Right? Now, most of us cannot do that, cannot perceive through the eyes of unconditional love. So we need to keep the practice going until it becomes more and more a part of ourselves, and until ultimately, the idea here is that ultimately we will be back in, we will embody that unconditional love within ourselves to the extent that we won't need to practice. It will just be automatic. It will happen automatically, right? There won't be the reactive mind. There won't be, we will just automatically think and say and do from that unconditional love perspective. Anyway, I hope this is a little bit helpful. It's not the easiest thing to talk about, and I think on this side of the veil, there's still the doubt, and there's still the fear, and there's still the questions, and there's still, is this true? And it's like the ego fighting with itself. It's one way to look at it. It's like the ego is mixed into this, and so the ego is taking this journey, and the part of ourselves which is still identified with the ego is like, don't know about this. Whereas there's a stronger part, a deeper part, which is, I know that it's true. I know that love is real, and I know that my doubt and my fear and my pain and my suffering is illusory. Anyway, next section is called littleness versus magnitude. Stay tuned. Thank you.